yeah, you know, hanging out and chilling and all that stuff is cool, but like, I kind of want to get that shit figured out, you know, and I want to see my homies figure that out in the same process, and then you know, one day soon we all just kind of like ball out together, you know what I mean?
Sure. And I feel like it's the quality, it's that I used to love ASAP Yams
Yep,
because every in their first ASAP Ferg album, he's like talking through the album.
yep,
That's like my favorite rapper talk was
okay.
him on the ASAP Ferg album because he would just always say shit like, "I've never been more relaxed. The limbs are liver. Fucking my
I feel
fucking
that.
our pajamas ain't the same. My shit is silk. My shit is fine." And that's what I mean. Like when we talk about just chilling with the homies, there's levels to chill.
Yeah,
There's like you just want to chill at the fucking Mickey D's, or we can go fly out to Hawaii and chill on like the beach. It's still chilling, but it's like I'm interested in experiencing this world
right.
while I'm chilling with homies. And like a good test to that for me is like, do the people around you understand when you gotta grind? Like if you're like, yo, I gotta go put in some work, like is it they're like, yeah, I got you, do your thing. Like because only someone who really puts in work understands how sometimes we just gotta put our head down and work. People who got nothing going on, they always get upset when you gotta like do work.
The work
Because they're
and
like, why
yeah,
can't you fucking boat? And it's just like, dog, you know what it's like to have to put in work. It's just the
yeah.
way it is.
By the way, everything's on live now, so just you know, giving you a heads up. Don't, don't. I don't want you to like. I'm not saying that you say anything crazy. I'm just letting you know, like you know, we're live now. But anyway,
No, that's good.
yeah, that was just
Yeah.
weird. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say it like that. I don't know why I
Well,
said that.
I was waiting till we went live to stop drinking. So I'm gonna take one more sip and
Okay,
then that'll be
you
my
know, do what you want. I respect that too.
oh,
I
is
never thought about that.
yeah. Do you have is no headphone? Like is my voice coming in
Yeah,
fine? I
you're
could put on
good.
headphones.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, yeah, you're good. Let me hold on one second. Let me go ahead and do this introduction. I had something written up. I don't know why my Discord ain't pop. Oh, cause I see what's going on. Hold on one second. I fucked up. I fucked up. Okay, I think I got it now. Here we go. Here we go. Let me just make sure my. Okay, now actually I have it. I fucked it. All right, hold on a second. God damn it. All right, hold on a second. Good thing you
By
know.
the way,
What's up?
no big deal,
Yeah,
but I think I screwed up because I checked our Discord,
yeah.
but I couldn't find the official final topic list that we were gonna do.
I'll fix that right now.
You
It's probably me that fucked up, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not a big deal either. Like I remember the feedback you gave me last time and stuff
Yeah.
like that. It's good.
Oh,
But
the thing, right?
yeah, the
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
waiting for one of us to
Yeah,
finish fully
yeah.
talking.
If you here, while I do this introduction, I'll send you this and you could just briefly look at it. Give me one second.
Cool.
Whoops, I did not mean to do that. I'm like fucking up today. What's going on? All right, here we go. Okay, so
Bum, bum, bum,
all right, so here we go.
like-
Okay, so let's get this started. In the digital age, we share our identities through avatars and handles, but here we meet the people behind the digital identity. This is IRL Podcast. This is your host, Mikey Digital, and my guest today, El Tatis. Welcome back, brother. How you feeling?
What's up, man? Just hanging out, having a good time.
Yeah, let's.
Tired. Didn't work.
How's the tech life?
It's good. I mean, it's an interesting time. I feel like, everything is a cycle,
Yeah,
and we're definitely still early in the AI cycle
yeah.
where there's a lot of opportunity going around, a lot of stuff that's not working, a lot of stuff that is working. If you're a builder, this is like an interesting time to be in because you could have an idea and it can go from 0 to 100 basically overnight.
Yo, you know, it's funny because I saw that I've been seeing adverts on YouTube and there's like an advert for this company. I don't remember the name, but it was just like you could just think up of an idea and prompt it to AI and they'll build it for you. I'm like, what? That's ridiculous.
No, it's wild because it is, I call it like the truth, like a period of truth.
Yeah,
If you've been for the past 5, 10 years talking about making something happen,
yeah,
but there's always a reason why you haven't been able to make it happen. Sometimes that's valid,
yeah.
and then sometimes it's just an excuse that you make.
Right,
So with AI, for me, it's like the perfect medicine for people that are full of shit, right? Because you could prompt uh, a strategy for marketing,
right,
some support to build some app, some way to figure out your budgeting, some way to figure out a new skill set, and all you have to do is execute, do the work, make it happen. But there's still a lot of people that are not, right? So I think a lot of that is like you kind of figure out who's really willing to put in the work and
right.
not, because the information, with YouTube and everything, it's already been super accessible,
Yeah,
but with AI, the information is like literally a sentence away. So it's like, who are you, the kind of person that's going to put in the work if you have the info or not? Now there's like no excuse.
it's crazy you say that because you know that I'm like in like in work in progress with setting up my stuff and my business and stuff, and we're pretty much there. I'm just kind of negotiating with shipping companies, but anyway, there's times where I have roadblocks, which that's what was one of the examples. I was trying to source the shipping aspect of it, and I realized like, damn, this is pretty expensive if I rely on a sourcing agent. So I'm like, all right, let me look for it myself. But it's kind of hard to look into that on the internet because of like the language barrier with like Chinese and English. So I'm just like sitting there like, damn, and like thinking about it for a couple of days. I'm just like, wait a minute, let me just go on AI and just fucking ask ChatGPT. And I clicked on the think longer or deep research, and bruh, got all my answers right then and there. And I'm just like, bro, like, why am I not being more resourceful with this? You know what I mean? Like, I literally got everything I needed, and now I'm negotiating with like 2, 3 companies. It's
And
so wild.
that's the competitive advantage in my opinion now. Like the difference between, who's using AI to get ahead and
Right,
who's not. It's not even just like it's the quality of how you use AI. It's, you said resourcefulness. I also view it as like creativity.
right.
Can you think of the right questions to ask it in
Mm,
the right way to get exactly what you're looking for? Because you're not gonna get anything useful out of, hey, create me a business plan
right,
for an app. Like it'll do that, but I mean, there's also, you have to do the work, but even that output is going to be low quality. But
right,
if you're like, all right, well, I've been creating content for this long, this is the content style, this is what I'm seeing working. Can you generate me a plan that sort of highlights my strengths,
right.
and or call out what kind of skill set that this content has that I don't have, and then you can kind of show it both clips and have it sort of do an analysis for you, and you can start adjusting yourself. Might be like, oh, the lighting on A is better, the
Right.
pacing on A is better, and then you can start incorporate. So you're right, it's like being resourceful and being creative, and then of course going out and just getting the
Get
reps
work
in.
done. Yeah.
Have to work. It's not going to build you $1 million business, but it will help you unblock yourself towards building that $1 million
Right,
business.
because like think about it. Think about like doing business like back in the 80s or whatever, it was like where internet wasn't even existent, right? Like you really had to like sit down, read books, talk to people, network, like all that information now is just like in the hand of your smartphone now, you know what I'm saying? Like you could just literally get all the information, like I always like to call it the in information, where it's like you only could get this kind of information if you're like around the people that are doing it, you know what I'm saying? But now I feel like I'm in that circle without even being in that circle, because ChatGPT, obviously it browses the web. It's not only just looking at, websites, it's also looking at forums like Reddit and other, face to like actual people talking about like, proven practices, you know what I'm saying? And like to do that by yourself, like, just to type, look on the internet or read books, it'll take weeks to even get your answer. You know what I'm saying? It's fucking nuts. And yeah, again, it's weird that people don't take advantage of this. It's like almost you're cheating, almost as if, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and you're only limited by your creativity. I'll give you an
Yeah.
example. My son's in first grade, and I sit down and do homework with him every day.
Okay.
It's like 30 minutes. We read, and then we do some math. The way kids do math today is changed from
Okay.
when we were up doing math. I think there's a whole like terminology for it that I don't remember right now, but the general idea is that they're not trying to teach them like memorization.
Okay.
Uh, 10 times 10 is 100,
Right.
10 times 11 is
Like
100, and then
drills.
you zero. Right. The way that they're trying to teach them now is thinking abstractly about a problem. So it's not even about getting the right answer. It's more about like, how do you think about getting the answer? So again, it's like building that muscle around abstract thinking.
Right.
So the homework he's getting is pretty easy to get the answer, but the way they ask the problems are sometimes tricky. And I was trying to explain to him like how to think through one particular problem,
Yeah.
and he was struggling to understand me. And I'm not trying to lose my cool. I'm also not a teacher. Trying to be patient and kind of
Right.
like work with through it. But we were sort of hit this block. And usually, what I do in those moments is we'll take like a 5 or 10 minute break and then come back and like try again. But I had an
Good
idea, and
practice.
now we've been yeah now we've been doing this whenever we get stuck. I opened ChatGPT. I went on voice mode and
Okay.
on camera, so I hold my phone up to the sheet so I can see the actual video of the problem. And then I tell it, don't give us the answer. I'm doing homework with my 5-year-old son. We're working through this problem. We're stuck on this. Can you help break this down in a way that a first grader could understand?
Right.
And then it does that, and it
That's
talks to him,
crazy.
talks to it, and then it's like I feel like I have an actual math tutor
Right.
whenever we need it to help break down the problem. I'm like, that's just being creative. It's just
Right.
thinking that I can use this tool in this new and unique way. And I do that with cooking.
Right.
I do that with cleaning. I have a lawn. Yo, we grew up in New York, bro. I don't know shit about the fucking lawn care.
Yeah, I know.
So, but when I see some weird weeds or like I saw some like mounds on my lawn,
Yeah.
took out my phone, I asked it, and it was like, those are fire ants. You can go to Lowe's, buy this, do this, and in 3 or 4 days it'll like clear up. Bang bang boom, I done it. I wouldn't even know. I would have had to have called someone, hired a lawn
Yeah.
consultant to come out. Probably had to pay them for their time. Where this just gave me the information I needed within minutes.
Right. Nah, I mean, and that's exactly, I feel like, the proper way to use this stuff because, yeah, I think there are other times where I'll use AI and I'm very lazy with my questions or my prompts. And I just get these kind of like really biased, like one-ended questions. Like sometimes I feel like like especially with opinion based. And I know you mentioned this from the last podcast. You have to really, you know, build constraints around it in order to get like a real solid answer. But like I notice it will always play both sides all the time. Like it would play your side and play devil's advocate, and I'm getting frustrated. Like, yo, man, get the fuck out of here. Like I don't need this shit. I don't want to. Like, yo, I know the answer. Why can't you just like agree with me? You know what I mean? Like,
Make sure that you don't ask it a question that's just. Here's the thing. Just like how there are yes men,
yeah,
AI is a yes man. So for some stuff, you may ask it a question and you get what you're looking for.
yeah,
If it's a direct, how do I scramble eggs? Like you're gonna get a direct answer. But
right,
if you're trying to like, brainstorm with it, you gotta be very careful how you talk with AI because it will just almost say back to you what you already know or what you want to hear, and that may not be the best answer,
right,
right? Because it might be optimizing to make you happy versus giving you constructive, useful
right,
feedback.
right,
You have to find like, how do I talk to this in a way that works for me?
right. That's interesting because yeah, there were times where like I felt like I was just going in circles and I wasn't really getting what I needed from it. But yeah, Actually, I kind of wanted to ask you a little bit more about that. You said you had a new hire, right? That's from Japan.
Oh, we interviewed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. It was just today. I mean, if all goes well, I'd like to bring him on the team. And he was a great person to speak with.
Did,
But it was just pretty cool because I know that you're in Japan right now, and
did,
I
did,
saw that they got
did he
their
mention what city he's from? Aside from like
no.
Tokyo, yeah.
No, we didn't talk too much about it. I know so he went to the University of Tokyo,
Okay.
and he got his master's there. Um, but I didn't talk too much about where he was from or his background, really because I'm not as educated with Japan.
Yeah.
I feel like I'll look like a fucking cornball if I'm just like, I like anime, you're from Japan.
Yeah,
Like that
that's. I mean, he
yeah,
he. You have that
yeah,
conversation after you get to know him, but to start it off like that, that's a little bit like now you're being a
it's like
weeb.
yeah, so I was just like, because I don't have nothing useful to talk about in regards to that,
Yeah,
I was like, I'll just make a note that, that's kind of cool, and then we just started talking about different architectural and like
nice.
code topics.
How was, not to sound like racist, because I can say this because I'm Japanese and also I live here and I know the level of English here, which I'll get into that in a little bit, but how was his English level?
Yeah, it's fine. I will say his communication style is culturally different,
Yeah,
but that's okay. That's normal. That's when you work on a remote team with people all over the world at different jobs. I've done that in tech. You get used to understanding different cultures and
right.
appreciating on the nuances. His English, of well, his English was not as fluid as my English,
Oh yeah,
but yeah, his words were clear, and his answers were just very succinct.
yeah,
You ask him a question, and he gave me the answer.
nice.
Where I think like culturally, at least for me or like how we talk is we'll give an answer, but we also give room to kind of like wiggle around. We can talk about this over here, that over there. We kind
Right.
of like give a bit of breath to it. He was just very direct and to the point, but everything he said was valid, was easy to understand. And it's funny because I left that conversation feeling like, oh, this is a talented person that I
Right.
could definitely see myself working with. I enjoyed talking to them. I wonder if he enjoyed
Talking
talking
to
to
you,
me.
yeah, right.
Yeah, but that's also cultural because I've spoken to other people from that are from Japan or from just even other countries, some Latin American countries,
Yeah,
and different cultures. They're like, this is a job, this is an interview. I'm going to keep it super professional.
right, right.
Where I think in tech specifically, even in interviews, we're like super chill, laid back. Like, I know this is a job, but you can keep it a vibe, and
Right,
it's
right.
cool. Other countries don't treat work that way.
I mean, yeah, especially because like in American tech culture, I noticed that you're very much as you're like, I feel like that's a given. You have to have like the credentials that you have, the college degrees and stuff like that. But I feel like there's more interest of like how you work socially and how you are as a person. You know what I mean? I feel like they really put the emphasis on work culture, and I think a lot of has to do with, okay, is this person gonna be fun to be around or not? You know what I'm saying? And I think that's
No, that's
valid. Yeah,
it's super valid because here's the thing. I work with someone who's this phenomenal guy, great energy,
yeah,
great aura, easy to be around. He makes you feel at ease, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to work where I work now, because I know I put in work. I work hard. I work overtime. I
right,
enjoy working.
right, right,
One of the ways that I relax is by like solving problems
right.
and like achieving the things that I want to set out and do. So like by default, I know that I over-index for hard work.
Mm,
So I'm not worried about being lazy or not working.
yeah,
I work hard. It's just in my nature. But with that in mind, if I'm going to work hard, I want to work around people that have good energy because it's going to make the hard work feel better.
yeah,
Because if I'm working hard and putting in overtime, and you're always stressed out and filled with anxiety
Right.
or bitching about whatever, then it's just gonna take away from my ability to do what I need to do.
Right.
But if I'm like pushing hard and working hard, and then I look to my left and you're just like chilling and like you're also working, but you just have a good energy and you're cracking jokes, it's gonna make the work just go by so much better.
Bro, that's exactly how I felt with my job at Sweatbox. I mean, it was the best job because, these guys would work hard, train everybody. We open up at 6 a.m., close at like 10, 11, p.m. And like, it was just so much fun because not only, we obviously get the work done, but we're like kicking it with the client, the club members, and we're talking shit, making jokes, you know what I'm saying? And just having a good time with great personalities. And that would just, and like, yeah, when we spend the most time with our coworkers, you know what I mean? Like more than our families, you know what I'm saying? So like for me, yeah, I think being in a friendly, fun environment is key to success because you're spending the most time with these people. So you have to have some type of good relationship. Otherwise, it's just gonna feel like work. You know what I mean? Well, it's always gonna feel like work, but like it's gonna feel like stressful work. You know what I mean? Like your energy is gonna get depleted way faster if somebody's bitching and complaining all the time.
So, if you're in a bad mood, do you work better than when you're in a good mood? So if you optimize for the best work that you can possibly do, then it makes sense to be around people that keep the mood good,
Yeah.
right? You're just gonna be able to, you're gonna show up tired, but then they're gonna crack a joke, whatever. And then you're gonna forget about being tired, and you're gonna be in a good mood, and then you're just gonna work. You're just gonna work through it better.
All right. One thing I wanted to say, the reason why I mentioned about that interview with the Japanese dude, you said that when you mentioned Tokyo University, well, a really interesting thing I found out from my girl, she said that college is actually really, really easy. She said that she had more hard time from middle school to high school. And she's not saying it from her experience. She says that's how it is in Japan. They put so much effort and emphasis in your, you know, pre-college years, because the only thing that's hard about Japanese college is the entry test. Once you get the admission, she said everything was super easy after that. And I was just like, that's really weird because in America it's the opposite. Like high school, middle school, that's just like whatever. But then like college is like when everybody's fucking stressing the fuck out, you know?
What do you think that is?
I mean, I don't know if one's the I can't tell if one's either better or worse, but I will say in the athletic aspect, it is better to start younger than wait till college. For example, that's the same thing. The way they treat athleticism, it's so important to do it from like literally from like kindergarten to high school, and then like let me backtrack. Do you know that there's no college baseball here? The big college game, I mean, the big baseball games are high school games, bro. If you see the high school, huh?
I want to go to Japan to watch the tournament that happens every year with every football.
Yeah,
Sorry, every baseball
yeah.
team. I've seen
It's
like
crazy, bro. They go. It's like a movie, bro. Like, and yo, you know how serious it is. Whenever it's baseball season, like in my office, they have the news playing all the time. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like 24/7 news, right? And whenever it's baseball season, bro, it's nothing but every high school. They're showing highlights. They're showing the players. You see the crowds, everybody going crazy. They're talking about what schools are going to go against next and like what are the tournament brackets. It's nuts. You see kids, high school dudes crying because they lost. It's insane, bro. You even see some dudes like they're supposed to shake hands. They'll just be like, nah, I'm not shaking that hand. Like drama and everything. It's nuts, bro.
and just so people know that are listening, um, just a little bit of history because I find this shit super fascinating too.
Yeah,
So it's funny that you brought it up randomly, but baseball was introduced in Japan originally as a form of military discipline. It was just like a game that the
that's
military played.
crazy.
Um, that's where the mentality of treating it with strict discipline came from, and not so that's just part of the tradition
Yeah.
of playing baseball in Japan. And when you join a baseball team, doesn't matter what grade you are, they're expected to like wake up at like 5 a.m., go
Bro,
out, train, snow, winter, doesn't matter. They're expected, like the expectation is you train until you literally like pass out or your body can't take it.
yeah.
If anything less than that is dishonorable
Yeah.
and you should feel ashamed. They have cheerleaders for the baseball
Yeah.
team. And those cheerleaders, if they're not passionately screaming their fucking lungs out, then they are shamed
Yeah.
for not caring enough for their team. And succeeding at the tournament, I forgot the tournament was called, but that yearly tournament for high school baseball is more important for those players than something like making it to the major leagues.
Right. That's
And
crazy.
that's actually why recently we're seeing more baseball players from Japan break out into America and blow up, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But the reason why historically that hasn't been the case is because they push themselves so hard for that tournament
Yeah.
that their body basically falls apart and they can't
Play.
compete in the major leagues. They'll like blow their arms out,
Jesus
pitching in
Christ.
that tournament, because it's just so demanding. There's
Right.
so much honor wrapped around it, that it's like that's it. That's the moment, and they just completely blow themselves out, and then they end up not being able to cross over.
I'm glad that you brought that up because there's some kind of situation that's been happening with boxing, but I'll get into that in a little bit. I just want to get back to the baseball thing. Um, the so like back so the way we like you know how we talk about generations or eras. We always say, oh, it's the 90s era, the 80s era, right? So the way in Japan does it, we do it by whoever was the emperor in place. So our era is considered the Showa era, right? The Showa, I think, was like from like 1920s to like, I don't know, something like to like 1990 or some shit like that. Like that was the Showa era. So technically for us, that's like the 70s, 80s. You know what I mean? And back then, it was really bad. Like they would be physically disciplining these guys, like these high school students. Obviously, it's way different now. It's in a more healthier discipline. You know what I mean? But yeah, there's like I'll watch sitcoms about the Showa era, and like yeah, it was pretty like very very toxic. Like it would be it's pretty much borderline abuse, you know. So, but that's how real it was back then.
I wish someone would do a comparison of Japanese baseball
Yeah.
and its strengths and Dominican baseball, because Dominicans are the exact opposite. Like,
Yeah.
like Manny Ramirez, there's some great content around him if you follow his career and his
Yeah,
life.
he's a legend.
Yeah, yeah, and he would like skip practice, sleep in,
Right.
take naps. He just like wouldn't
That's
listen to
crazy.
people. That's also why they said he was a phenomenal baseball player. His ability to not care and give a fuck meant that he never felt pressure when the game was on the line.
Right.
So he just like had an ability to perform because he was just always in this like relaxed state.
Right.
So this is an interesting thing with Dominican culture that produces phenomenal baseball players in a culture that's very relaxed and low key.
Yeah.
Then you have Japan that produces great baseball players in an environment that's like a pressure cooker. It's
Yeah.
like super tense. So my theory is it actually doesn't fucking matter what you do.
Yeah.
What matters is how often you actually like do a thing.
Right.
It's reps.
Yeah.
Because the Memphis baseball player like Manny, he was skipping school, relaxing, doing nothing, but he played baseball all day long.
Right.
So he took nothing serious, but he loved playing baseball.
Right.
Then in Japan, it's this military regiment around training, super stressful, super strict, but it probably had two effects.
Yeah.
They trained a lot, and then the pressure of the game was probably like they probably are able to manage pressure better because they're always under pressure.
Yeah.
Right? So it's just a different psychology. So for me, it's like you got two polar opposites that both produce great results. What's the denominator that's common? It's just practice
Yeah.
a lot under pressure. Just practice, practice, practice.
I was just thinking, like, how like in America, if you have a military background, that usually gives you an advantage in job interviews, especially if there are people in the company that are military background. I feel like here, I'm pretty confident that if they find out that you were one of like the good baseball players in high school, you probably got a good in a lot of companies. You know what I'm saying? But it should be that way because why? Because of the discipline that they had to go through. They probably are phenomenal like team players at that point. You know what I'm saying? As before even an adult. But I want to get
I
back to,
believe
huh?
just real quick to close
Yeah,
that thought. I
yeah,
believe that, by the way. Uh, I do think if you achieve great things that requires great effort, that should carry some weight around with you.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like
totally.
I know somebody would be like, he played baseball, so he deserves that job interview, and it's
Yeah,
like that statement sounds dismissive, but like to your point, think about what that means in Japan.
yeah,
You were a leader in your community. You showed up when it matters.
yeah,
You dedicated yourself towards a goal. You saw it through. Like all those characteristics are super positive. So
yeah.
it's like,
You,
yeah,
like,
that should carry some weight.
yeah, like that's a winner at the end of the day. Oh, just to say one more thing about how disciplined these kids are. I remember when I was working at my last school. I mean, my last job. It's pretty much blue collar type of work. So like we have to get up early, and sometimes I had to work Saturdays or Sundays. You know what I mean? Either or whatever. I remember, and like I usually have to like get up at like 6 o'clock, and then I'm out of my house at like 6:30 sometime. Bro, I was there's there's schools everywhere, so like I'll be riding to work, and literally it had to be like 6:40. Bro, it was a full-blown team on a Sunday morning. They were all in uniforms already practicing, so that meant that they had to been there at least 6 o'clock ready to go. You know what I'm saying? Like they were already in formation and everything. I'm like, bro, I never seen no shit like this in America. Like I know, we have baseball practice and we get up at like 8, and start doing things in these motherfuckers were probably up since like 5. Like they were fully uniformed and everything, already out in the field doing drills. I'm like, yo, that's insane, bro. And like they can't be no older than fucking like 16, you know what I'm saying? Like it's insane. But yeah, I mean, at least I think they got it down to the point where like now, okay, we have the right amount of discipline, because I think boxing now needs that adjustment, because recently I just want to throw this out there. Somebody at my gym, he's a pro fighter. He actually passed away because of just too much damage or whatever. And another fighter in the same night died at the same undercard. And I think that's where it needs to the whole like having a heart and the fighting spirit, that's respectable, but like this is a very deadly sport. And I noticed that in Japan, referees, they don't stop the fight early. Like, sometimes you watch fights in America and these referees will stop it so early and everybody complains. I'm like, I'd much rather you stop the fight early and make a mistake than make that mistake than make the mistake of letting a fighter die because they wanted to like show out. You know what I mean? I think right now they're doing a lot they're having serious meetings about it, but I noticed that in America they're very quick to stop a fight versus like in Japan. They just want to like put on a show and stuff like that. But that needs to be changed, because that's crazy. 2 people in one night. I don't think I ever heard of that. But
That's really unfortunate.
yeah,
You're right. Do you think it has to do with the perception around like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is true in sports, and it feels truer in a country like Japan, at least what I've seen around baseball.
yeah,
So it makes sense to boxing as well. Do you feel like a lot of that is attributed to the idea of like honor and
yes,
like giving up
yes,
and determination, and you can overcome, um, almost to the point where maybe in a fucked up way that's like an honorable way of getting damaged or
Right.
hurt, where it's
I
nah, that just shows that I did my thing,
Yeah,
even though
yeah, so
ridiculous.
I have the same thought. I think it's really about there's I forgot the saying in Japanese, but it's like the Japanese fighting spirit. You know, we believe in, like, and this goes in all athleticism, we believe in just like doing our best even if it hurts us, you know what I mean? And like um I think that's where the boxing, organizations, they think like, yeah, let's try to see how much they can push it, but they don't realize like this is a deadly sport, you know what I mean? People actually do die. And I think now, because this generation of Japanese boxers are great, they're very talented, that now we're seeing really deadly fighters and not realizing like, oh, they're very capable of taking each other out. So they need to change that thought. I do agree with what you're saying. I think it's about an honor thing and just not giving up. But it's an exception for this sport, because this sport is a very, very dangerous sport if you don't know what you're doing.
The failure of I think you're right. It's a failure of the organization, because at first I thought, well, if you try to take that away, that mentality away from the fighters, what do you, or the athletes, like, what do you lose? Do you want to lose it as a country? Do you
Mm-hmm.
want, like very powerful people that believe in themselves, that are willing to go all out, channeled the right way, can be incredible
Yeah.
for a generation, right? Think about like what Michael Jordan has inspired out of so many people to go out and be the best at their craft or whatever they want to do. So it is valuable. So it's like, well, also it's ridiculous that people are losing their lives in a totally preventable way. So I think, so I don't think you want to lose that in the athletes, but what I do think is you want to hold the organization responsible,
Right.
because two athletes could go in that ring and feel like, I'm going to go all out. I'm going to give it
Yeah.
120% at any cost. And it should be the referee to be the one that be like, y'all are going to go all out, but I'll stop it before it actually gets to that point.
Right. Because look, obviously my background is boxing, so I know a lot about the sport. As a referee, right? If I see a fight going for about 5, 6 rounds, and I see the guy's already losing, like, I can tell this is not gonna, like, when it becomes like he has to KO the other, like the losing opponent has to KO the other opponent to win. That's a sure sign. All right, I have to get ready to stop this fight, because there's no sense if the person's already losing, and they already lost the whole 6 rounds and it's going that way. Why have them keep on fighting? You know what I'm saying? Like, we might as well just stop it. Of course, the coaches on each corner wants to see a chance of them, turning the tide. But at the end of the day, as a referee, your responsibility is over these people's lives. And like, it's common sense. Like, yo, if you've seen plenty of fights where like, oh yeah, this is not going anywhere. You know what I'm saying? So just stop it. It's that simple. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not that hard to see. Like, if you really pay attention to people and how they take, damage, you can kind of tell like, okay, this is kind of like getting too much. You know what I'm saying? And like, yeah, I think they just need to be more strict on that, and that would just kind of fix a lot of things, because, again, this is not like a regular sport where it's like tennis or whatever, where, yeah, you may get like a injured knee or something, but like, these are people's lives at hand. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, that's just my 2 cents on that.
I mean, every other sport has a version of that. There's load management in basketball.
Yeah.
Fucking athletes understand, it's not worth pushing myself right here
Right.
because I have other matches coming up.
Right. Right.
It's I think it lends itself to the aggression of fighting.
Yeah.
Well, I see that. Um, but if you don't want your fighters to be less aggressive, fine. Then create an environment where they can be safe
Yeah.
channeling that. And to your point, it's getting referees that are held more accountable.
Yeah.
This idea of like, you make a great point. They are residing over people's lives, and you should have a very high bar if you're going to give people that kind of power.
No, totally. I'm gonna switch gears a little bit, because there's something that I saw on the internet lately, and This is something that I always been wondering why, and maybe you have maybe some insight of why this happens, but like I notice a lot on the internet, and you could tell me if this happens to other countries, but for some reason people love to lie about Japan. I don't know what it is. People will just go on, like they'll turn on their smartphone and they'll start talking about like, you know, Japan, and just making up this like content and making up these statements. And it's just like so common that Japan is like the victim of that. And let me tell you what I've been seeing lately. So apparently, on Twitter, there's been rounds of going of supposedly the Japanese government just passed like a legislative law, or like a kind of like a project where they're gonna make four cities hometowns for African citizens, right? So I'm like, okay, and then they were like, and then the reasoning is, oh, to bring in more like skilled workers and laborers, which I get that because Japan needs more laborers, right? The population's shrinking, or whatever the case, whatever it is. But it turns out, so like literally they were saying hometowns for Africans, you know what I'm saying? And then they picked each town for a specific African country. So I'm just like, that's a little bit weird, but like, all right, I guess Japan is accepting that. It just kind of seemed weird because like Japan already makes it hard for anybody to come. Why specifically Africa, right? So you see all these like, you know, African content creators, even just black creators, just like, yeah, well, look, there's, you know, African people coming, blah, blah, blah. And then it turns out they found out that the Nigerian fucking government lied about it. It was just some made up shit. Like, it was not even true at all. Huh?
The government lied about it in Nigeria?
From one source, it said that, well, first of all, it's already stated by the Japanese government that's not true. And supposedly from a content creator who seemed like she was African, she was saying that it was Nigeria that made that lie up. I'm just like, what the fuck is going on, you know? And this is like,
yeah, I'm not surprised that a lie fucking got around, especially one that's like, that might provoke engagement. If it came from the government though, that's fucking crazy.
That's crazy, right?
There's this meme, it's one of like, it makes the rounds every once in a while. It's a politician in Africa. And I'm not like, I'm not educated about, you know, all that stuff, but because you brought it up, it just reminded me of that meme. It's a politician giving a speech, and he's like, I will not tolerate no corruption, but if I'm part of the corruption,
I defend it.
Yeah, it's like,
he's like,
I will tolerate it if I am part of the. He's giving a speech to mad people. He's just basically saying,
I'm proud of people. He's like, but if I am part of that corruption, I defend it.
If I'm part of it, then I will tolerate it. And you know what? It's funny, but I was like, yo, that's one real dude, man. That guy's keeping it 100. Because every politician is gonna do that.
Yeah,
everyone
behind,
gonna, like,
they will never admit it, but they're doing that. You know
yeah, he just straight up was just like, I'll defend it every time.
You gotta give her, yeah, you gotta give respect to that. You know what I'm saying?
He's being honest. He's being honest, and that goes far. Now that. Anyway, but yeah, so if it came from the government though, that's wild. But yeah, I mean, stories like that, I try to wait to see it play out, because when a story feels too perfect for virality, I get suspicious. Like targeting a minority group that has a lot of like activism, targeting systemic issues, targeting, like, it's just like all the pieces were perfect.
Right,
you know?
right. There's like factors that, you're right. There's a bias that's going on behind it. I'm glad that we were talking about this, because this actually brought up a question that I've been wanting to ask you. How, as social media consumers or internet consumers, how much, like, all right, back then we could just watch TV and pretty much believe it, you know, before it was just media groups, and at some level they were telling the truth, but a little bit of lies, right? It's a little bit of like curatedness and whatever the case may be. But I think it's so bad now that we're being fed lies left and right, because now media groups are not just big organizations, it's just groups of people that are, again, getting engagement. My question is, how much of us as the consumer should take responsibility, and what should we be doing with that responsibility to combat and understand what we're intaking? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like nowadays we need to be more adamant of how we take information. What do you feel as a, another, I'm sure you consume, information all day. What do you feel about that?
That's tough because
Yeah.
the answer is it just really depends.
Yeah.
But this is what I think could be useful for people, and it's been useful for me. It's a concept that someone taught me many years ago. Try to view it as two realities.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is your first reality, your primary reality is, first of all, offline. So
Yeah.
anything you do offline is your primary reality. And then anything that directly impacts you,
Right.
you can consider your primary reality, even if it's online. So a good example of that is my local news channel, right? It's like specific to the county that I live in, giving me the weather or giving me the traffic update.
Right.
That's like my primary reality. And that, to me, you treat with a certain level of sincerity,
Right.
attention to detail. Like, that's safe to consume as much as you want.
Yeah.
Right? Go outside, talk to people, go do stuff. Like, you can tap in, you're good. Secondary reality, I think you have to treat it almost like if it's entertainment and not real. So when you would watch Friends, Seinfeld, the Eric Andre's show, or some
Right.
shit like that, SNL, you understood that this is not your real life, and anything you see on SNL or the Eric Andre show or some shit like that, anything you heard on that rap album, anything you watched in that movie is not going to actually impact your day-to-day life. Um, and I think, and this is true for most people.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this is true for everyone, but for most people, treat the internet in that way.
Yeah.
If you just treat it as a form of entertainment, meaning that I'm not going to fully buy into any content creator and what they're saying.
Right.
I'm not going to fully buy into any media outlet or what they're saying. That'll just create a natural shield
Yeah.
between your identity and the content, because that's the real risk for me. Like, I think there's a risk in being fed lies and propaganda. That's not good. But I think the real risk is letting yourself become the identity that you start seeing online.
Yeah.
Right? So, because it's one thing, I'll use American politics as an example. It's one thing for me to hear a story about Trump and then be like, he did that fucking asshole, and then you figure out that it was exaggerated or
Right.
a lie, and you're like, oh, he just lied to me. That's not good that I believed a lie without checking it, but you can recover from that.
Right.
What you don't want to happen is that your identity, who you are, becomes anything Trump does, I'm against. Or
Right.
anything he does, I'm for.
Right.
Because the moment who you are becomes wrapped into something that you don't control, you
In
don't
that second
influence,
reality.
you don't do it,
Yeah.
then you just become these people that just like live online and like cult followers, and then you start believing every lie, and then if it gets proven it's a lie, you start making excuses for the lie about it's a cover up or
Right.
whatever. For me, keeping that distance between my primary reality and my secondary reality is what allows me to not let it become my identity. I think that's key. I think that's like, we need to really make sure that doesn't happen.
I love that answer. So, and I'm going to keep that in mind. So basically, primary reality, you're safe for the most part. You should be okay. Second reality, you take it with a grain of salt. You just got to be a little bit cautious into buying into that. See it as more as entertainment. You know, that's a really good way of thinking about it, and I'm really gonna go that way from now on because you said a valid point about don't let it become your identity, and once that, right,
This way, if you're walking down the street
yeah,
and someone runs up to you and they say, downtown Tokyo, there's a big fight going on right now.
right,
You're gonna be like, all right, you're gonna probably believe that person and maybe turn the other way or whatever. If you go on Twitter and Twitter says downtown Tokyo, there's a fight that the Japanese people are, you're gonna be like, is that real? Like you should treat and that even though it's the same information, the source and where it comes from, you should treat it slightly different. And that's why your
as like in
primary
reality, right,
yeah, primary reality is like you're probably fine, and it's actually healthier to operate in
yeah,
because you have influence in your primary reality. You have the ability to talk to someone, to walk away,
right,
to do something, to take action. You have very little input to the secondary reality. You cannot influence the blogosphere. You can't change what's trending.
right,
So, like treat it as what it is, some sort of entertainment vehicle. Now, this is my like advice at a broad level. Um, just to wrap up my thought on a very specific strategy. This is something that I do. Um, I try to hear counterpoint. So um, I know myself well enough to kind of know where my biases
mm-hmm,
tend to lie. I know what I tend to believe in and what I tend to not believe in. So if I hear a news source and it's coming from someone that I typically agree with, if it's something that I feel like I'll talk to someone else about, meaning the opportunity of spreading fake
yeah,
information
okay,
possible, because like I work in tech. If some person says something about tech that I agree with, but maybe it's controversial, but because it's tech, I know I might talk to you about it.
yeah,
I'll try to hear the opposite of that person's reporting on that event.
right,
So if you're a Democrat and you hear Trump did something bad, hear the Republican perspective on it as well, and then the truth is probably somewhere in the middle.
between
And it
that,
may
right,
still be that it's bad,
yeah,
but at least like it's rooted in like the truth.
right,
This is just the exaggeration. So that's what I tend to do. But I will say I don't do that with everything
right,
because there's a lot of news that I hear and I'm just like I'm gonna forget about this in like 5 minutes because I just don't give a shit about
right,
it.
right,
I'm not gonna fact check it because I'm never gonna talk about this again.
right,
But if I know that we're gonna talk about this later on like a topic, or if I'm gonna go to the barbershop and it's gonna be something I talk to somebody about, I want to make sure that I'm speaking accurately. So I
right.
try to hear competing opinions.
Yeah, that's something that I get pretty consumed up into because, um, you know, obviously, regardless of anybody says about me, I'm Asian American, right? Like I'm Japanese by blood, but I'm a New Yorker. Like I was born in America, I was born in New York, I was raised in New York. My mentality is New York. But I faced a lot of discrimination growing up, and you know, I have a very strong bias against that. And when one of the things the reason I came here is because the day that I have my own family and all that, they don't have to face the discrimination, experience that I had to face because they're the majority, right? With that being said, I get consumed up a lot by even that I'm here now away from America. I still see people from the West being discriminated to my, identity as a Japanese person. And I get easily triggered by that because it's very constant that I see it. And I'm not doing myself no favors because I'm interacting sometimes with these engagements. Like there are literal content creators that come here, you know, man, I wish I could pull up pictures. Like there's a couple of them that I really, really hate, but there's one that I don't like, and it'll be Japanese content creators too. Like these, like, I know two ladies that I've seen here that I used to follow, but I found out like, somebody from outside came in, did some stupid shit, and instead of like defending Japan. They were just like, oh no, they didn't know anything better. Like just trying to cater to them so they could get the clout. You know what I'm saying? Like they're just worried about clout. They're just fucking clout whores. But there are some Americans that come here and you know, I don't want to sound racist, but it's just, you know, POCs, and like they use that minority discrimination like engagement and create so much lies so they can, you know, basically take that engagement from America and use it in Japan. And like, yo, and if you see what they do, like these people are like asking for donations and stuff. Like they don't want to do anything constructive. And it makes me think about like, are you even really about your culture? Like, are you just doing this so you can make money off of it, you know? But
There's an
again,
argument to me that a lot of Western American culture is just the route towards money.
you're right. And if that's why I need to be mindful of what you said. That's just a second reality at the end of the day. Yeah, you know, they're spreading lies, but like the truth is how many Americans are really here, you know, thinking like that. You know what I'm saying? It's already
Yeah, and I think it's important. I mean, I have some other questions too, but maybe we can say that for another time. But I think it's important for you to do something that I do a lot, which is like know when it's the right time to fight. So I think it's important for you to be educated as to why these people are ignorant, why
right.
these people are not worth, you know, the bullshit that they spew.
Yeah.
Like you can have that information, intentionally seeking them out and keeping them in your space without the ability to take action effectively is just like,
Punching yourself in the face.
yo, it's self torture.
Yeah.
But what you could do is like understand that life will give you the opportunity
Yeah.
to vent and to let it out. So just like keep it in your pocket. One day you'll bump into one of those people, or one of those people will ask you a question, or you might be on like a podcast like this where you'll be able to air out your thoughts, and then it can go viral, it can
Right.
get the clips, whatever. Like you don't have to keep engaging in that. Just know when's the right time to
Right.
like engage it, and that way, yeah, I'll give you an example. Professionally, sometimes I'll see people behave in a way that I don't think is like constructive for a good team.
Yeah.
I don't like check them on the spot.
Right.
I take a step back and I say, eventually there'll be a meeting about what we can do better, or
Right.
somebody will ask to give feedback, and then like that's the right moment for me to strike, right?
Because it doesn't feel like an attack. It feels like more as criticism, like constructive criticism.
You know, and even if you want it to be an attack, like this is gonna sound mad fucking corny, but
It's fine.
a lot of the kind of shows that we watch, like to watch, if you pay attention to the protagonist or their mentor, they always talk about like knowing when's the right time to strike.
Yeah.
When's the right time to like pull the punch? When's the right time to make a move? And knowing what's worth fighting for or fighting about, right? So it's like influencer online that you can't even interact with or do anything about. You're just like screaming to yourself, getting flustered. If you just wait, you'll bump into someone.
Yeah.
You'll have a conversation, and I'm not saying you'll strike in some sort of like physical sense, but I mean like you'll have a chance to say what you need to say
Yeah.
to somebody who's listening, and that's gonna feel 1,000 times better than just consuming the content and doing nothing about, or not being able to do anything about it effectively.
You know, I was thinking about this other day. One of the worst, I would say, top 5. And if we had like a tier list, this is like the S tier of like the worst kind of person, you know, in our current world, is a person that adamantly gets up every day, takes their smartphone out, and just talks shit about a country or culture just to get engagement because they have such a following. They just want to sit there and talk shit and just badmouth somebody or some group or community and just do that. Like that's how much of a fucking like miserable person you are. Like I can't picture myself getting up and be like, yo, these people are so blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? Like that, you gotta be some next level lame to do that.
Yeah, they're a piece of shit. But let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Because this came up with my wife earlier in the
Yeah.
week for something unrelated, but I think the same topic. Um, I'll give you what happened here. Something bad happened.
Okay.
On like in the world, and she was feeling bad about it. She was feeling sad, and she's like, "Look at this," and she tried to put her phone in my face.
Yeah.
I told her, I was like, "Don't show me that shit. I don't want to see it." You know, and I explained to her, I know how bad that is,
Right.
and I feel the weight of how bad it is. I don't have to further torture myself by watching it. So if you see these influencers and you know what they're about to do for the next 2 minutes on a clip is get you mad, you already know they're full of shit.
Yeah.
And they're fucking worthless. Just don't watch it.
Yeah.
Like you've already got the right conclusion. You don't have to keep watching it.
Yeah.
It's similar. I actually learned this about having a dog. You know, someone told me that like if you speak sternly to your dog and they like stiffen up,
Yeah.
you don't have to discipline them further. They already understand
Right.
that something happened. So like if you see that content and you immediately identify the bullshit, why do you have to watch more?
Mm-hmm.
You already accurately categorized it. You're just gonna make yourself feel worse. It's like self torture. So that's kind of like also why I did that with my wife. I was like, I know this is awful. Like I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I don't have to
Yeah.
feel worse for the next few minutes. I'd rather like, you know, is there a link to donate? Is there a way that I can do something?
Right.
I should just move on.
You know, and that goes back to your point about second reality. Like, you know, that's our fault for constantly keeping focus. Because, like, the smartphone's right there in our hands all the time. What are we doing with our days? Are we doing something progressive? Yeah.
Giving them engagement.
That's the funny shit too. I be seeing people fall for that all the time. I feel like content creators purposely sound stupid just so they know that people will be like, "Oh no, that's wrong. That's obviously wrong." Blah blah blah. Because like, and then it's like, well, who won here? You know what I'm saying?
There's a joke that is like common that people say a lot, and it's like the best way to get the right answer on the internet is to say the wrong answer.
Yeah.
Think about it. Instead of being like, "What's the answer?" You just say the wrong shit, and somebody in the comments will comment. Like,
that's
blah, 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 blah. Like,
oh, thank you.
Smarter to piss people off because you'll get what you want sooner.
You know, a good example of that is Bradley Martin. You know, that kind of bodybuilder, kind of jock dude. He always, so like at first I used to fall for that. I used to fall for, he had this little thing where he interviewed fighters in his podcast and be like, "Yo, you think you could win a fight with me?" And like, I used to be like, "Bro, I don't care how big tall you are. I spar with guys that are fucking 6 feet tall and I'm fucking 5'8" and I beat their ass." You know what I'm saying? Like, I will fuck you up, and I'm not even a pro fighter. But I realize I'm giving him engagement. And then I further realize that these content creators purposely just do that because they know they're gonna get a rise out of you. So they probably know themselves that it's not true. And even if they didn't, it doesn't matter to them. They're getting what they wanted.
Well, let me trip you out a little bit too. What is entertainment? If you think about it, what is entertainment? If you were a business, how would you define entertainment?
Right.
You'd probably say someone who's willing to sit through something. If something's willing to feel an emotion from something,
right?
If someone's willing to actually leave a comment and say something, then this must be entertaining. You probably don't think that bullshit content was entertaining, but every metric around entertainment says you were entertained.
That's crazy.
Because you stopped, you watched, you commented, and you felt anger, which is an emotion. You felt something. So it's like, you know, he entertained you. And in his mind, if he's an entertainer, that's how he entertains.
Yeah.
don't agree with it, which is why I think like we got to be smarter around what we choose to engage with. I think I told you before, I don't even like tweeting
Yeah,
or responding to tweets. I'll start and then I'll just
just
stop
delete it.
because I'm
Yeah,
like,
I do
I'm
that. Yeah,
just getting into the bullshit. I
yeah.
can't.
You know, when you have time, and I'm not like biased to be thinking like young people aren't smart. With these young content creators like Agent, DDG, Extra Emily,
Mhm.
they did that college thing. There was some very valid statements being put there. And a good example of that is DDG. Now, a lot of people, how they view as DDG, I don't know if you know him, but DDG is just kind of like this young, kind of like, he's trying to be like a rapper, but he's not really that good of a rapper. But like, he's a content creator. But
I only know him from the Halle Berry,
yeah,
Haley
the
Berry.
drama, right?
Yeah.
Now, he's I watched actually a clip that he was in that college marathon or whatever, that content project that they did, and he said something very valid. He was like, he said some stupid thing on purpose, right? And then he looked at everybody and he saw their reaction and he's like, yeah, you see, this is probably going to be made into a clip, and that's exactly what you want. Like, then he opened my eyes. All the things he does that people hate him about, he probably does that intentionally because he knows, it goes back to what you're saying. He knows that the engagement and the algorithms are going to give him reward for that. So he doesn't care. Probably deep down, he's probably a cool guy. You know what I'm saying? But like, people that don't know him personally, that he knows he's never gonna fucking meet, it doesn't matter to him because he knows he's making money off of it. You know what I'm saying? Me
Yeah,
myself, I can't be like that. I want to be genuine as much as possible, but
it's well, and that's why I want to go back to like what is entertainment, because I know you feel like, and I agree with that because I think I thought this way for a long time too. It's not being authentic, you're just doing this. But I wouldn't say that about Al Pacino playing Scarface.
mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say about that about any other art form,
Yeah,
medium.
it's a definitely cheap way of doing things. Yeah,
Yeah, and even cheap is interesting, right? Because like, again, I don't disagree with you, so I'm not even trying to come off as someone who disagree because I be thinking the same shit, but I'm trying to learn and expand the way that I view things, and what is cheap, this is just a new thing.
yeah,
So to an oldie like me, it looks cheap. But I don't know if like a 15-year-old thinks this is cheap.
yeah,
I know for a fact Kai Cenat probably spent millions setting up that university
yeah,
or setting up the other stuff. So the production probably isn't cheap behind the scenes.
yeah.
Even if it looks the whole webcam style. So it's just different. It's just a different art form. I don't know if these people are not authentic because they're playing a character. I guess it depends on what the character is, and I guess it depends on what they say. I don't know, it's super tricky. Yeah.
It's for me, that form of content, that form of entertainment, it reminds me of like when we were young and we would go to the grocery market and you see those obviously lying tabloids. Remember the tabloid magazines that'd be like, that's
Yeah.
how I see it. Like I see that it's, that it's not real or at some level, but like you kind of like find it entertaining because it's just like so like, I don't know what it is about those lies that makes you feel like, oh man, that's like that's ridiculous,
It's escapism. That's
Yeah,
what it is. I learned about that. I learned about it during COVID. A lot of it is escapism.
yeah,
It's essentially like you work a job, you have a life. It's probably a routine to an extent. You wake up around the same time, you do roughly the same kind of activity, then you come home. You just need to escape reality.
yeah,
So it's entertaining to see surrealism and extravagance, and like, cause like you almost feel like you're there, you're part of it.
yeah,
Somebody asked Jay-Z in an interview years ago. The person was like, I'm gonna get the lyrics wrong, but the person was just like, how come you say in the song, "I'ma fuck your bitch," and everyone's okay with that?
oh yeah, I
Do you
remember
think
this.
Yeah, and Jay-Z was like, Oh nah. When I say I'm gonna fuck your bitch, when they sing the song, they think they're the one saying it to
Yeah,
someone. They don't register as it's being said to them,
yeah,
even though technically I'm saying it. You know,
to
I'm the one
everybody. Yeah,
saying it,
yeah.
hearing it, right? So like that's what it is for me too. It's like when they watch these streamers doing stuff, they're like, I'm part of the community. I'm part of this. So it's like
Yo, they
when
identify
when
themselves.
that wins, I win, even though they get none of like the profit, the benefit, the fame. That's just it's stan culture, it's idolism, it's all
Yo,
that.
you know that escapism. Now I realize that's why. So like, if you're on boxing Twitter like I am, bro, the biggest groupies you ever see in your life. Like, yo, these guys. All right, so like the biggest groupies are either Haney fans, Devin Haney fans, or Tank Davis fans. Mind you, Tank Davis is not even a top pound for pound boxer anymore. Like, if you watch his career, it's like mid at best. But like, these guys will they will defend it to their grave that he's the greatest fighter of all time. And in the beginning, I was just like, why you guys think that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this guy's always having clauses to fight. He's always having the advantage. You know what I mean? Because he's picking his fighters. He's having contract clauses where like the weight, he has a weight advantage. You know what I'm saying? It's just like you never really see him fight anybody that, you know, extravagant. And then when he did fight somebody that was good, it was like a draw. He actually took a knee, by the way. And they would still argue that it wasn't a knockdown, whatever, but that's whatever. And I realized, yeah, that's escapism, because they're not liking him because he's a great boxer. They're liking him because they identify themselves. Like, these people identify themselves. Same thing with Drake fans. I truly believe that they're not fans because of the music of the career. That's actually another conversation I want to talk about, like what is good music, but we'll get into that probably another episode. But they will talk about things like money and all this stuff. I'm just like, I really think you're just identifying yourself. You just see yourself, you want to be that person. That's why you're so like, you know, defensive about it. When somebody talks about your artist or whoever you're a fan of, it's really fucking weird when people are like that, because I'm just like, bro, like, be your own person, bro. Like, why? And then and then again with the escapism, they'll just go on the internet and just talk about them all day long. It's nuts, bro.
This
Um,
goes to what we were talking about earlier around it's really important. That's why for me, the fake news, consuming fake news, there are ways that you can prevent that,
yeah,
but that's not really the skill set. The skill set is learning to not become the identity of the shit you see online.
right.
Um,
The
that
secondary
right,
reality.
exactly, it's the second reality. These are people that fell for some sort of entertainment, propaganda on something online, and they just started to become who they are. And now they can't see themselves separate from that. And that's a dangerous place to be. And I'll be honest with you, on a personal level, I have zero interest in being associated with anyone who's made anything other than who they are, their identity,
Yeah,
because this is just a shell of a
yeah.
person. Basically,
It's
see, bro, like
who knows what they're hiding deep
I can
down.
predict everything you're gonna say because
Yeah.
you know you're a fan of the Drake thing. You're a fan of Drake, so I already know every position you have on every topic.
That's interesting.
Right? Like you're not interesting to me anymore.
Yeah.
You're not even a real human to me, right? Because
Right.
it's
Yeah.
like no, you're just a stan, right? And it's just not interesting, you know, in
Yeah.
my opinion, engage with that person.
It's weird too, because I never meet these people in real life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never meet these people in real life. I
There's
never.
a real, I don't know, but I think there's some truth to like some large percentage of all that shit is not even like real.
Well, that's another thing I wanted to talk. Well, that's why I wanted to add to our conversation about being responsible about the internet, because I did some research from some sources. You know, it varies. I don't think they have the exact number, but some are saying 20% are bots. Some are saying 30%. Some of as to like 35% that there are bots online, you know, engaging. But let's just say on average, let's just say like a nice number like 20%. That means out of every 10 people that you interact with, at least 2 of them are fucking bots. You know what I'm saying? Which is nuts to me. And it's like, again, I think that's why it's safer just not to engage into that, because you can't really tell till you actually investigate the account, because you can kind of tell once you look into the account that, a good rule of thumb is looking at the year that the account was made. If it's somewhat recent, it's generally a bot. And then you can also see another good practice is whatever the topic that you're conversating with them, see what they're posting, reposting. If it's the similar topic, that means that's a bot, because they're built to always talk about that subject. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. And even I, truthfully, I agree with what you're saying about those strategies. I'm skeptical of even that, because
Oh yeah, it's not. Yeah.
well, what you're describing to me is a money problem, right? Because if I have enough money, I can probably buy a bot farm
Yeah.
in 2015, 2013. Age is gone. If I have enough money, I can have this intelligence around these bots to not do all the obvious traps,
Yeah.
to kind of throw people off. And I do think governments and the most influential people have that level of detail.
Oh yeah,
in
I'm
their
pretty
propaganda.
confident that there are bots that counteract that. They already have like ways to.
That makes it look
Yeah.
human. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's again, it's scary. But I think that I'm really happy. This is why I have this podcast, because I really think you have the right way of thinking about that. The going back to the primary and secondary reality. I think me myself, I'm going to use that more often and just have that mindset. Like, you kind of just like open my mind, like, okay, let me, before I think about this, look at this and even try to do anything, let me just think about, is this a primary reality or this is a secondary, and that's going to help me a lot more to just not even pay no mind. I mean, going back to what you said about, how you tried to ignore what your wife was showing. I do that myself now. Before I used to not do that, but now, I'll just hit that not interested button, or don't show this, type of content to me. It will still make its way to me, but it's obviously, at least that's the responsibility that I'm taking within myself, to make sure I block and mute these these kind of content creators. But and to be quite honest, I have faith in humanity, because what I mentioned about those content creators in Japan, I do see a community that are, that are foreigners on Twitter that are calling out these people. That are like, yeah, that person's full of shit, blah, blah, blah. So like, at the end of the day, not all is lost, but I think for me, I hope this will reach out to some people, or I hope it reach out to a lot of people, that we really need to take responsibility on how we approach social media and how we approach information, because, I think people don't realize there's like a big ass war going on in information. Like, for example, like, you notice how like people are just really like implementing race war. Like, all right, India is a good example. People talk so much shit about India. It's so fucked up. Like, before I used to like kind of like entertain it, but I realized like, yo, you guys are repeating the same form of content. Like, you know what I mean? And India's a big country. There's a lot of people. Like, it's easy to find those shitty, people that's not really good representative of the country, because there's just so many of them that not great, part of that community is going to be somewhat, bigger than, other countries or whatever.
We're bad with numbers.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is that, like, in real life, if you saw 10,000 people, you'd be like, what the fuck? There's like a lot of fucking people here.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even be able to talk or understand
Yeah.
10,000 people. It's just like, but 10,000 people on the internet is like nothing. 10,000 retweets, 10,000 likes, a comment thread that has like 1,000 people that left comments. That's fucking nothing, right? So, it's really easy to find 10,000 pieces of shit spreading bullshit on the internet.
Versus
right?
a billion people.
Right. And so we think that's representative of an entire thing. I mean, last time I remember, I don't know, I could be way off. There's like 250 million people in America. You see 1,000 racists on Twitter.
Yeah.
That's not reflective of 250 million fucking people.
Yeah.
It's just those numbers are so big.
I think,
and the problem is with the internet and algorithms, if you engage with those 10,000 racist people,
It
it'll
just
show
keeps,
you 1,000 more
yeah,
racist people. You start feeding into this belief, but it's not reflective of, I live in basically one of the reddest states of the country,
right,
coming from New York City, one of the bluest parts of the country. The homies here are not much different than the homies up there.
right,
But if you go look online and on Twitter and all the stuff, they make you think it's a completely different
right.
universe.
And that goes, I think that's another good practice of determining, is that a second reality, or a primary reality. Look at the numbers, like it's there for you, right? Like, is it 100 million people talking about it, or is it like fucking 10,000? You know what I'm saying? It really, it's a really small number, like you said. And we're talking about a world of what, going on to like 9 billion people, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think this is, again, this is why I had this podcast, because I like some of the school of thoughts that you approach certain things, and you really gave me the answer that I wanted, because I feel like people need to see this. I feel like there's like a big war going on, and people are falling for it, and they're just they're just contributing to this war of like separatism. Like, it's just separating us. You know what I'm saying? And
Their contribution is allowing a platform for people who don't deserve to have a platform.
yeah,
Because
facts.
these people can fucking be like, but I got 10,000 views, I got 10 million views or whatever every time I do whatever, and it's like, now that gives them the ability to go on to the news, to talk to politicians,
Yeah,
to actually use that, though, that hate viewership. They turn that into the ability to influence policy, business,
right.
culture, and then that's damaging because now that's influencing your primary reality.
Yeah,
Now that becomes your fucking governor, or your fucking, clothing. Like, it just starts changing shit that actually matters. So yeah, I agree 100% with you. Like, that's where we have to hold ourselves responsible.
all right. Well, I
Cool.
think we got no, we got let's we got like, let's just we'll wrap up one more. Actually, you know what? Let's make our last subject here. I've been wanting to ask you this because before I even ask the question, I think music is very subjective. I don't
Yeah, yeah.
think I don't think music is good. If for me, I think music is good, an artist is good. Excuse me. I don't think music is good because of, all right, my bad. I got this now. The reason why we think certain artists are good, like Taylor Swift or like Ye or whatever, when I see artists like that, I don't necessarily think they're good artists. I think they're very good marketers. You know what I'm saying? I think they got um, good, you know,
Distribution.
distribution. And why I say this is because as a DJ, I find music that are incredible, and these people are like nowhere to be found. So with that being said, the question I want to ask is, what do you think makes good music? And I see a lot of people, which is like the worst factor, is people would say, "Oh, this guy sells so many records." You know what I'm saying? Like the Drake and Kendrick beef. Let's use Drake and Kendrick as a benchmark. Like, how do you determine which is the better artist, as you as a person?
Yeah, Kendrick Lamar to me is a
Yeah,
better artist. I think there's a lot of answers to your question. One, I do want to just quickly say about the
yeah,
Taylor Swift more records topic. Um, I think that they're both highly skilled at making music that appeals to the largest group of people. And I do think that's really impressive and hard to do,
yeah.
but I don't think that's the best music for me.
Right.
Um, and I think Most Def said it best.
Okay.
Something that you can hear while you're shopping at Target is something that is like appealing to literally everyone.
Yeah.
It's blank. It's airport music. It's fucking Target music or whatever. It's like, so like, they're masters at that.
Yeah.
And like, that's a skill set, right? But I do think that's a different skill set than like the artistry and the craft of making like music that makes you feel, or is maybe super technical, or it's like all these other things. But the best though, the best people in my opinion are the people that are able on a switch to give you a little bit of everything.
Right.
They're like, I can give you a hit that appeals to everyone, or I can give you like in rap, lyrical miracle, or I can give you like metaphors and punchlines or whatever. Like there are some people that have the ability to kind of like live on that spectrum, and I think those are the true masters. I think Kendrick is a good example of someone who can make a song that appeals to the world, but at the same time give you something that's like deeply rooted in culture, skill set, and just mastery of the craft.
Right.
But now to answer your question, what I consider to be good music is one, like, do I just want to hear this song? Like, do I just enjoy this
Right.
song? That's like my baseline. And then two, do I feel connected or inspired or
Right.
moved by what I'm listening to? And I'll give you an example. My favorite album is, it's not really I feel like for some people it's a hot take
Yeah.
in hip hop and rap, but for me, my favorite album is Mr. Morale and the Big Stepper. To me, that is like,
That's interesting.
I listen to that album multiple times a week. Still,
Right.
I still listen. I'll probably hang up here, put on some headphones, do some work listening to the album. But here's the thing: I've been with my wife for 10 years. I've made mistakes in those 10 years.
Yeah.
We've been through some shit. We started dating when we stopped raving was when I started dating her.
Yeah. I
Like,
knew you when you first met her, pretty much. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Yeah.
right before we had that whole thing of raving, partying,
Yeah.
going. Yeah, so like, so she knew me when I was a knucklehead 20-year-old, 21-year-old, 22,
Right.
before I started coding. We've been through shit. We have 2 kids together.
Yeah.
We got a son, we have a daughter. We're married. We're living our life together. So him talking about and my father was deported to the Dominican Republic. He wasn't the most active in my life.
Yeah.
So when I hear that album, I get reminded, like, when I hear like father, it's like I think about my father. I think about being a father. When I hear songs about him talking about his relationship and where he's fucked up and where he's trying to be better, like the therapy aspect, I think about the stuff that I've done and how I've tried to be better and try to improve. So like that whole album to me is like really reflective of just like the part of my life I'm in now as like a
Right.
father who's trying to be different than my own father, but probably have made a lot of the same mistakes that my father made. But I'm just trying to like grow from that and be better than that.
You see, I love how you answered that question, because as a DJ, I have a total different thought. I don't think to say something is good, that's reflective on you as a person. I don't think just because going back to my point, if artists are successful and they make a lot of money, that's to me is just good distribution, good marketing. You know what I'm saying? To me, good music, good artistry, or good music, obviously some are talented more than others, but like at the end of the day, it's really just subjective. It's to how you feel about the music. There's no better artist than other. You know what I mean? Of course, if you put criterias of like how many records are sold or how many tours, how many like historic like collaborations and stuff like that, yeah, you could say that this is better, but does that really make them better for you? You know what I'm saying? And it's interesting because I see people like Boiler Room is a perfect example. If you go to Boiler Room, first of all, fuck Boiler Room, because they're actually they actually got bought out by like Zionists or whatever. But anyway, they would post their content, in ads, and then they'll get shown to like different worlds, like different countries. And it's funny because like I'll see certain countries, it's very toxic in the comment list. They'll be like, "What is this music? I don't like this music." I'm like, all right, well, I know what kind of music you guys listen to. Like, I'm not going to say which countries or whatever, but like, I know what music you listen to. But you know what? I guarantee you that electronic music that you think that's trash, it's more worldwide than your music. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So again, like, I think that whole, I kind of just gave you a loaded question. I think the whole question of who's better or what's the best music, that's just the stupidest thing ever. You know what I'm saying?
it is subjective,
Yeah,
right? Because like that's why that album is my favorite for me because I have a very personal perspective with it that it would be unreasonable to think other people can see that.
right,
Even Michelle, I'm like, I'll show her some of these songs from that album, and they don't hit with her.
right.
But I get why they don't hit. One, it's not like always like her the genre, but also it's also like I'm the man in my relationship. So when he talks about the man shit he did, like I get that.
Yeah,
She probably is like, you motherfucker. Yeah, I remember. She was like, yeah, you fucking piece of shit. You did that shit years ago or whatever, right? So it's that, but you're right. It's why it's subjective, and you do have to add criteria if you want to be able to measure it. I agree too that record sales is a lazy
yeah.
measurement, um, because you're right. A little bit is who has better distribution, um, but also it's like to give a little bit more on the distribution marketing
Yeah,
side. Um, let's say that I went gold and you went platinum, and now we have a rap beef,
yeah.
and people are gonna like see who won the rap beef. But just because you went platinum and I went gold, maybe you have a little bit better budgeting
Yeah,
money. You have more advance, so you
the
can
connections.
activate more
Yeah,
more propaganda online. Or yeah, or maybe we both did platinum, but maybe like the record deal's like, well, Mikey appeals to the demographic we want to invest in more,
right.
so we're gonna tip the influence in one direction over the other.
Right.
So it's like you can't trust anything that big because it's all manufactured to
Oh
some
yeah.
extent.
I mean,
Yeah,
there's
so
there's literally there's literal industry plants. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could take any fucking Joe Schmo as long as they have something appealing about them, they could make them into an artist and make them quote unquote a good artist. You know what I mean? But yeah, I see this argument all the time and I just laugh at them. I'm like, bro, you can't just tell somebody that's bad music. Like, even like me, I'm not a Taylor Swift fan, but I can't tell a Taylor Swift fan that's bad music. Of course I'm not gonna listen to her. I'm a fucking dude, you know what I'm
I,
saying?
I've tried to be a Taylor Swift fan. I've sat down, I've tried to listen to the album. No, because like when someone is as big as she is, that she's shifting entire cultures, I want to be part of that moment too. Why
Right,
wouldn't I want to experience? If everyone's loving it, why wouldn't I want to like have that enjoyment too?
right.
And I just can't.
Relate
It
to
just
it.
doesn't.
Yeah, it just doesn't
Yeah, it just
resonate. Yeah.
yeah, it just doesn't click. With that said, I'm gonna go see the Clips next week.
Get out
I'm
of here. Where
excited.
where
Uh,
at?
in Houston, they have a
Nice.
show. It's gonna be fucking awesome. I can't wait
Yeah,
to
man, that
see them.
album, that first track is crazy to me. Like the birds.
Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I was just like, holy shit. And you know what's crazy? That's how bold Pusha T is, because he's giving all the stuff, all the ammo that Drake can use it, but Drake would never use that ammo against.
You wouldn't know how to.
Yeah, you would.
You wouldn't know.
Or
And
even Travis. I mean, Travis doesn't even. He's not even in the equation. That guy's a chump.
yeah, they wouldn't know how to, because to do it, you'd have to make people think what you're doing is better than what that song did. And that song was too beautiful.
That song was incredible, bro. I
That's
teared up. It made me think about my parents and shit.
I cry all the time with stuff like that
Yeah,
because for me it's tricky because now I have kids.
yeah,
So my mind went to like, oh yeah, when I die,
yeah,
Adrian's gonna probably find me one day,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
It's like it makes me sad, right? So like I absolutely get that, but Malice he
yeah,
is phenomenal.
yeah,
He starts his verse with something like, "Chivalry, you ain't let mom. I knew chivalry wasn't dead.
yeah.
You ain't let mom go alone." Like that's
Yeah, it's crazy.
incredible.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's yeah, they were
Yeah,
they were
and
next level,
it,
man.
the FICO song
Yeah,
where he goes like crossing state lines, hands 3 and 9, dum diddy dum.
right.
Uh, First of all, that to me is one of the most incredible bars that I've heard in like the past few years. One, because like it's catchy,
Yeah,
dum diddy dum, it's catchy. Two, I definitely, well, we don't have to talk about. I never did it, but I remember when we lived together. certain driving activities with white boy
Yeah,
and so like I remember hearing y'all talk about like, yo, be on point,
yeah,
don't no
yeah,
stop at stop sign. You gotta do everything on point, right? So it's like that reminded me of that like that same like dumb diddy dumb.
yeah,
Just like also fucking Diddy being arrested for flying prostitute across state lines. Dumb
he's
Diddy,
dumb,
dumb Diddy.
dumb, yeah,
Yeah, so it's like a triple entendre. I don't know.
yeah,
For me, I'm like, yo, the guy. I don't know. I love that shit. I
yeah,
love. And again, I know it's subjective, but I love rap that is smart enough that I'm like, oh shit, but dumb enough that I actually get it.
yeah.
Because some dudes are so smart that I just can't even like get it. So that like that perfect balance of like rhythm, like bop, but then also you're like saying something that my brain is like, whoa,
But
I love that
again,
shit.
and it goes back to the point that it's all subjective. For some people, they don't listen to lyricism. You know what I'm saying? Some people don't listen for the beats. It really just depends on the person. And, you know, it's so stupid when people talk about Drake or Travis Scott versus Clips or Pusha T. I'm like, yo, those are two different artists.
We used to see him when he was super early in his career.
Who?
Every time he did a show in Brooklyn, Travis.
Oh yeah, Travis was
Now
great when he first came out, but now he's just
yeah,
a
he became a whole other fucking entity.
yeah,
It's
he just
fucking
became a
weird.
sellout. I mean, I just can't respect
I
that.
still listen to Days Before Rodeo. Still
Yeah,
listen to
that's
all that.
yeah. I mean, come on. Like
It was-
I'm mature enough to admit that that was great piece of work, but like,
Yeah.
he's totally different now, and that's why I just don't like him, And also what he stands for, you know what I mean? Like I just feel like somebody that can sit there and not take accountability and try to even and then like you can tell the record labels that's like or the people in the industry put that documentary just to do damage control. Like, bro, he is the referee of the fucking concert. He can stop that shit anytime he wanted, bro. He is
Yeah.
he is just as at fault as fucking Live Nation. And let me tell you something: Live Nation throws thousands of events every year. They never had an incident like that. You know what I'm saying? So don't. That's a
I mean,
whole.
I'm simple. I'm simple. Who's who gets the most upside,
Yeah,
then you get the most responsibility. That's what I believe. It's why, like, when I really dislike from any president, but specifically Trump, when he like says this was Biden's this is it's like, okay, even if that's true technically, you are in charge now. You got to you take everything. It doesn't get higher.
yeah.
So like with the Travis thing, he makes the most money off that show. It has his name on it. He owns all the upside.
That's his
That means he
influential, and that's his brand.
responsibility.
Yeah,
Yeah, then you own that responsibility, and any like skirting around that to me is complete bullshit.
and it's sad because these young kids really defending they're defending on that hill so hard. I'm just like, bruh, listen, it's okay, bro. Like, this is my message to the young generations. It's okay. There's endless amount of artists out there. Just do a little bit of searching. You'll find somebody maybe
And
just as
even
good as him. Don't worry about it.
to just counter their main talking point with that Travis shit, he's just the artist. He's not the one he's busy performing. He's not thinking about this other stuff. Even if that's true, it's his job to be informed. It's
Exactly.
his job to hire the right people,
Which
to
he
make
was
the right
informed,
call.
by the way.
Yeah, I saw the
Yeah,
documentary.
yeah, yeah.
They try to make it seem like we don't know what was said in that moment.
It's all
We know
bullshit.
what was
Yeah,
said. Get the
come
fuck out of
on. It's
here. You
bullshit,
think
bro.
that many millions are on the line and people weren't informed? They've been new when the
Yeah.
fucking fences were like torn down and people were running. They've been new.
I
The
mean,
shape of the fucking thing was not optimized for safety. Get the fuck out of here.
yo, there's literal tweets that he deleted saying, yo, if you don't got a ticket, just bust your way in. You know what I mean? Like, come on, son. Shit's
Like,
crazy. Like, how you
and,
gonna defend that?
and that's what people don't understand. Yes, tweeting that doesn't mean he's like someone will die. Like I understand that's not like the same thing, but tweeting that and then someone dies, you are responsible.
Responsible, yeah.
in some
Of
part
course
for
he
it.
of course he doesn't want nobody to die.
Of
but
course, but it happened, so you
yeah,
have to take
responsibility
responsibility
for
for like
it.
you did. You know what I mean? That's just the way that
Oh
it is.
man, yeah, that was my second reality that I could not hold my tongue for at all. I was just like, yo, you fucking stupid. This guy fucking
Yeah.
kid, yo, he died and he put out that stupid ass video rubbing his fucking forehead. He didn't give a shit, bro. Come on, son, you don't give a shit about y'all. Stop fucking giving him money, bro. The guy
You
fucking
know,
wait, hold up. The guy pulled up to fucking Pharrell and Pusha T's recording session with a fucking case that he handwritten some shitty ass handwriting saying Utopia. Come on, son, that's fucking corny, bro. Like, get this shit out of here, bro.
now you know what's corny? Playing a song and not playing the part that this is the guy that you're playing it for. Like a
And,
fucking Herbington.
and then
Dog.
going and to talk about that, he was Pusha was recording his fucking album, the one that we're listening to now, and he comes out unannounced and interrupting the whole shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, that, and then I understand it more because of certain songs that was put on that album. That was very, very, personal to fucking the Clips. You know what I'm saying? Like, you over here putting your fucking same old bullshit music, bopping your head and shit like that. Like, yeah. Again, like, I just can't stand. I that's just how I choose my artists. I need to know that they're at least a decent person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah, I think a lot of knowing what you're listening to. I think there's two levels. There's like, do I just enjoy this and it's just entertainment? But I think like who you're really going to go check says a lot about just like who you
you
are.
as a person. Yeah.
I'll tell you why I love Clips. Same reason I love Jay-Z. It's actually slightly different than why I love Kendrick, although like I love Kendrick too. But I love luxury rap.
Right.
Love luxury rap. But here's the thing: I work hard. I'm entrepreneurial. I like the hustle.
Yeah.
I like to advance. You've known me for a long time. I'm always thinking about like how could I improve?
Yeah.
How could I be better? I try to read to expand my mind. Like I just like the journey of personal development. And I know you might be thinking what does luxury rap has to do with that? But when I hear Push talk about coming from like the fucking projects to pushing a Maybach to fucking flipping this to that and the big house, I'm like, to me, it makes me feel motivated and inspired to like give me like the reminder as to
Keep
why
going.
I'm showing up every
Right.
day. I don't even give a shit about the material thing. It's hard to explain to somebody who doesn't get it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I want all the rich shit. I'm not that materialistic. But the energy that comes
Yeah.
from listening to that music is energy that I then channel into like getting the goals that I do want. So I fucking love that music.
Yeah, man. I think I definitely want to bring up more questions about music another time because I feel like there's a lot of stuff that you can get into that. But yeah, I think we could wrap it up here. We did a good amount of time. But yeah, man, always thank you.
Yep, flowers.
Yeah. It went bad fast, right? Yeah, it was good. It was good talk. We got a lot of good material, so I'll break it down later.
The stopping.
Like,
I think we did better with like completing a
yeah. Totally.
and then forth.
I think one last thing I want to say is I think I like the idea of getting this down to a T, like the artistry of conversation down to a T, where we're like such pros at this. I feel like we're doing good, we're talking, have a good conversation, but I know that we could get to like super high level with this, so I'm looking forward to that. But
I think so too.
yeah, let's chat later. I'll catch up with you in the coming weeks.
I think it's to the point too, like where not only is like our conversation's tight and we're in a good rhythm, but as you're talking, in my head, I'm like, I already know if I say it this way, it's gonna get the reaction we want out of it in a way that isn't like for example, we're talking about the Africa thing. Some knucklehead, some fucking bum, maybe would have talked shit about the African country in that moment.
Yeah.
And maybe they would have got that clip would have gotten.
I don't want that.
I don't want to do that shit. I don't want to do that. But I do want to be able to be like, yo, in what Mikey's saying, the key thing that people will be curious about is this one word or this one topic. So let me respond highlighting that.
Mm.
It's like maybe when we're talking about Kendrick and Drake, I could have still said what I said, but I could have like maybe shit on Drake just a little bit, enough to like
It won't.
be like a hook,
Yeah.
and then like pivot into what I really think. So again, we'll get better at just being able to like hook, response,
Right.
listen, and we'll get it.
But at the end of the day, man, we just want to spread the truth and the good truth.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm not trying. Well, what I want when I think about when I do this is if people I know see this, I don't want them to be like, who's that guy? I want to be like, oh, that's exactly what it's like to talk to Lou in real life.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, I don't feel like there's a difference between who I am at work, whatever. It's like,
Right. It's not it's not some fabricated identity. This is who we are. And I mean, that's what we do. You know what I'm saying? We just real ass
It has to
motherfuckers.
be that way too, because us grow the way that we want,
Mm-hmm.
and we start getting invited to other podcasts, we start doing other stuff. I don't want to have to keep pretending to be something.
Oh
that
yeah,
I'm not.
that's fucking exhausting.
Tiring, bro.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm probably gonna be hated if the day this thing pops. I'm probably gonna be hated because I'm gonna talk. I don't like other content creators.
I'll end up getting a successful business that make millions, and then someone will be like, "We found some clips with you and some guy in Japan who kept saying shit about Africa." I'll be like, "What?"
No, man. I love my African peoples. I got fucking.
I know that wasn't even anything to. That was the viral moment. Just happened to be Africa. It had nothing to do-
Yeah. No, I just want to make that clear. I want no beef with Africa. No, but you know, but I mean, if anybody knows me, they know the truth anyway. So,
Of course, yeah.
all right,
Yeah,
brother.
Yeah, the problem is that the internet doesn't know shit.
Yeah, they want to fucking create narratives and shit. Fuck that.
Yeah.
All right, man.
All right, man.
Let's talk soon, man. Peace out. Take care.
Peace.
All right.